I want to go to my guest. I want to go to my guest because he is broadcasting from Japan, and they are 14 hours ahead of us. And I want to be mindful of his time. So I want to welcome Leslie Lee the third to the Benjamin Dixon Show. Leslie, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Listen, so I had a chance to read your article. I believe it was on Medium. I read it last week when you sent it to me. And the funny thing is, I actually had already read it. And the article is about the experiences of this young woman who is a Bernie Sanders supporter and the harassment that she faced online. Before I try to explain it too much, why don't you tell my listeners a little bit more about your article and some of your thoughts about it?
Okay, well, basically, I wrote the article a bit as a response to the dozens and dozens of articles about Bernie Bros. I've been thinking about it for a while. Harassment is a universal thing, and if you had talked, 6 months ago about this, no one would mention Bernie Sanders when talking about harassment of women online. So when I saw Emily posted something about, oh, she just posted a picture saying, hey, I'm giving a speech for Bernie Sanders today. I thought, I wonder what the responses are like. And of course, as you see, the responses are the same kind of sexist, aggressive responses that allegedly only come from Bernie Bros. It's something that happens to women, whatever they're doing, whatever they're talking about. It doesn't have to be politics. It can be music. It can be video games, as we saw with Gamergate. So I basically wanted to write an article just highlighting all this stuff, all this flood of hate that she got within just the first couple of hours of her just posting, hey, I am supporting Bernie Sanders. Here's a picture of me in a sweater. Just that. And she got.
Let me ask you if you feel comfortable enough. Now, my listeners, we have a mature audience; they can definitely handle it. But do you mind sharing some of the things that you saw that's actually shareable?
Yeah, she got called a bitch, a stupid bitch, a ignorant bitch. She got called a cunt who should shut up, an idiot. They told her to show her tits over and over again. Because Emily, if she's a model, she's posed nude before. She was nude in Robin Thicke's Blurred Line videos, and a lot of people response just said, just shut up and show your tits. That's all you're good for. And I need to back up and say she is an intelligent woman. She has a nuanced perspective on this election. She's not just Bernie this, Bernie that. She actually, after she posted her support for him, she criticized Bernie Sanders too. Say, hey, let's talk about race some more. So she's not someone who is unintelligent or that anyone could perceive as unintelligent. She's posted essays before. The same people who are following her to see her support Bernie understand that she's a political woman and an intelligent woman, but still, as soon as she crossed that line for some people, and some of the responses were from conservatives, but some were from Clinton supporters, some were from just people who don't even have a dog in this fight. They hurled all this sexist abuse at her almost immediately, and that is what the internet is like for women. And my point was basically to say, not that Clinton supporters are worse, but to say that everyone has it pretty terribly. And the second pivot of that is that because everyone is treated like that, for the Clinton campaign and the Clinton supporting pundits to take this online harassment issue and reduce it to Bernie Bros, what you're doing is basically, taking it as a serious issue off the table. You're just turning it into a political football that, is not going to get anything done. It's not going to help women. And Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders campaign could have platforms to address harassment, but with the Bernie Bros narrative, all that's happened is that Bernie Sanders has kind of wagged his finger and said, people cut it out. That's not a platform. And Bill Clinton, who has wagged his finger and complained about sexism, which anyone should find incredibly offensive just on his face. He is one of the most well-known sexual harassers in history. So for him to get on stage and wag his finger about internet sexism is just absurd.
But I think I like one of the things that you said there. Let me back you up a little bit, because you made a very salient point in that by them reducing this to being a way to make Bernie Sanders look bad inside of the narrative of Bernie Bros, they are minimizing the reality that this type of behavior exists well beyond Bernie Bros. It actually is active inside of their own camp. It's and even beyond this political election, it happens all of the time to women every single minute of every single day. And then by them reducing this to being just about the Bernie Bros, which is disingenuous at best, they're missing and erasing an opportunity to address an issue of harassment that goes on with women all towards women all day long.
Yes, exactly. And you know, these campaigns could do something. Our politicians can do something because the fault really lies with the media companies and ourselves for continuing to allow the media companies to not do anything about harassment. If the Bernie Sanders campaign and the Hillary Clinton campaign got together and said, okay, on this Tuesday, we're going to do a blackout. We're not going to post on Twitter. We're not going to post on Facebook. We're not going to use any of this social media in order to highlight all the women who have been silenced by harassment. That could create some change. That could bring this issue to a forefront in people's minds. That could create something that could create real change with these companies. But instead, it's just Bernie Bros. And if you look on Twitter now and type in the search term Bernie Bros, all it is just, you know, people going back and forth. I think this about Hillary Clinton. You think this about Hillary Clinton. Well, you're a Bernie Bro. Well, you're a Hillary bot. It's just become a meaningless term now that's applied to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So what type of response? First of all, how many views? You like this is it's a your post went viral. A lot of people read it. How many views has it had so far, and what type of response have you gotten from it?
Yeah, well, so I didn't expect it to go viral. I usually don't write about politics. I usually write about Japanese pro wrestling, and this thing just blew up. It's got on Medium alone, it's gotten about 600,000 views, wow. And it's been syndicated on Huffington Post and a couple other sites, as well as the Mary Sue kind of did a remix of that, and a couple other sites have posted articles similar to mine based on my story, and the response has been phenomenal, and I'm very happy about that, because as a man writing about sexism, you never know when you're crossing the line, overstepping your bounds. Even if you ask your wife and your friends and your female friends what they think about it, you still don't know what you're going to be missing. But I'm happy to say that women, the vast majority of women who read my piece, and I think it's mostly women who've been sharing it and posting about it, have been very positive about it. They're saying, hey, this is talking about something that's been ignored. Or they're saying, hey, I'm a woman. I've been on the internet for 15 years. This is nothing new to me. This is not just something that came along when Bernie Sanders came along. So I've been very happy with the response, especially from women, because it's important. Like I wanted to tell a story that, you know, women won't tell, something that isn't being talked about in, you know, the big publications. Like, for example, the Daily Base has an article right now with Bernie Bros in the title, but in defense of Paul Krugman, who is a successful white male, and they're complaining about Bernie Bros attacking Paul Krugman. Paul Krugman has been attacked for the entire time he's been writing, and he doesn't really need anyone to come to his defense, you know. But the women who've been attacked by Hillary Clinton supporters or other supporters or Trump supporters or anyone, any woman, you know, their voices have basically been erased in service of this narrative that's been pushed to basically help Hillary Clinton and nothing more.
You know, and I think that's the thing that bothers me the most about this, Leslie, is the fact that we've gotten to this ridiculous stage of politics inside of the Democratic Party, where, you know, you have people who try to make their candidate to be the purest candidate, and everyone associated with that candidate is pure. And I'm talking about both camps here. I'm not just talking about Bernie or Hillary, right? Like, my candidate can do no wrong, and therefore their surrogates can do no wrong, and everything that you and your other people have done is completely wrong. You're the devil, we're good, you're evil, and we get to this really ridiculous point when the reality of it is this type of harassment, this type of Bernie Bro Hill bot narrative doesn't exist Yes, and it exists on both sides. So trying to pin it down on one side or the other is disingenuous, and it creates that it's just used as a political football, as you said, and it has crossed over into an area of just pure harassment, but it comes from both sides of the equation. Listen, I want to thank you for one, writing that piece, and then two, coming on and talking about it with us here at the Progressive Army and the Benjamin Dixon Show. Tell us, what is your takeaway from this? What is your big takeaway that you want us to receive from what you've written?
Well, first, I want people to push for our both Bernie and Hillary to actually do something about online harassment. Move that focus there into things that they can actually do as politicians to help with online harassment. Second, I want people to be more skeptical of what they read from these pundits, because as you pointed out, a lot of these people writing about this Bernie bro stuff want to work for Hillary Clinton. They want access to that power, and they're using this narrative to help their own self. They're not using it to help women in general. And thirdly, I want to point out that this is, I think, a very bad strategy from the Clintons. You see how much support Bernie Sanders has and how passionate people are about him. To paint his supporters as sexist, racist, dude bros, all of them, what do you think is going to happen in the general election? A lot of those people already genuinely don't like Hillary Clinton for a number of reasons. For the same reason they didn't vote for her in 2008. All those same factors are still existing. And now you're attacking them personally. In 2008, you attacked Obama, and some people forgave you for that. But now you're attacking the actual supporters. You're going after them. Right. You're having Bill Clinton call them sexist. I don't think a lot of people are going to be willing to forgive that, especially in this election where it's an anti-establishment election. That's the energy going around. So if Hillary Clinton wins, I don't see Bernie supporters all going over to her side. I won't, to be honest with you. I won't. I know you will, but I won't.
Like I said, my jury is still out, but and whatever you decide and what everyone decides, that's their right and their prerogative. But I particularly just want to pull out the one thing that you said that made the most sense, is that the strategy is one that could ultimately backfire, especially when it comes time to try to unify left-leaning people, liberals, progressives, whatever kind of characterization that you want to give them. So definitely. But your article, I think, is a great read. I'm going to share it in the YouTube chat, and I'll tweet it out. I want everyone to read it. I'm going to grab this caller to see if this caller, you're live on.